Home Shopping Network. Hairball Tim. Hey, Junkyard. Yeah, this is the best kind of home shopping network. Yeah, what a beautiful day. Vita gets to go to the veterinarian tomorrow for her final appointment. Just uh, just to say that she's doing a-okay now. Going to tell us that we can now let her oscillation, let her run and play it. I've been letting her do that for the last 2 weeks. I really probably don't even need to go, but hell, I paid for it. I might as well go. Good evening, Sandra. How are you this evening? Yeah, me too. My hair is kind of going in that way too on top of my head, unfortunately. I took a FU ton bed apart. Somebody was throwing away, but got about 30 pieces of metal. What's an FU ton bed? A flatbed? What's a redneck buffet? I want to ask for Sandra. What's a redneck buffet? Now, be nice, Noodles. Have respect for this channel, just as you show the same kind of respect that I show you on your channel. Be nice now. Hey, Rick, the church dinner. Hey, that's a good guess, Sandra. I'm so jealous of your life. Were you the guy that was whining and complaining this morning about people shitting on the sidewalks that you had to dodge around? That you couldn't afford to repair your windshield? That you couldn't afford a computer? That you have lousy internet? I mean, he was doing a lot of whining, and I was thinking all that stuff that he was whining about. I'm so fortunate. My windshield's in great shape. My car runs fine. I have 3 computers. I have 3 phones. I have great internet. I've got the life. And you think I'm jealous of you? I don't even go to the fair share bank, the food banks. You're constantly having to go to the food banks because you spend your money unwisely. Oh, the old ironing board is the hillbillies buffet. That's old school hillbilly buffet. Besides, Noodles, you got to get back to your live stream. Go on, get out of here. Get back to your live stream. See, I'm punishing Noodles. I'm not letting him have a wrench for a little while because he punished us for over a week with his channel, where he couldn't moderate his channel. Very few people had wrenches. People getting blocked. So I thought, you know what? I want to make Noodles pay the consequences. Works like a rollaway buffet. Oh, like a rollaway bed. Yeah, I wish Frank would visit over here too. I'd bring him up on panel, Rick. But he ain't gonna. I mean, if he would come on over, I'd definitely drop the Lincoln channel for him to come up. Hello, Robert. Robert had a live stream today, and he wouldn't even share it with nobody. Bing, he gone. Frank just timed him on out. Frank just timed Noodles on out. No rain again? Bummer. This weekend it's supposed to be back up into the 90s again. You're the best now. How did you got two of these accounts? You have two troll conspiracy accounts? What's up with that? We gotta get rid of these trolls. That must be a troll. I don't think that's the real Noodles there. He's gotta time him on out. He's gotta if that's real Noodles, he belongs in his own live stream anyway. He's got his own live stream going. Get rid of him. Get back to your live stream there, Noodles. I tell you what, Noodles, your live stream was going great. It was going great when it was just Leo up on panel. When it was just Leo up on panel, it was going great, and then you had to get back up there, and your channel went downhill from there. It was horrible. It was awful. You know, you need to listen to Frank. He gone. It's what you get, Frank, for making me suffer for a whole week. A whole week on that pathetic channel of yours. No trolls allowed. Wait a second. Does that mean I gotta leave, Sandra? Only the upstanding allowed here. Yeah, I roasted a bunch of tomatoes today. And my wife's gets them. I don't have a full pot ready to, the pressure can is not completely full. So she's getting some more stuff ready for this batch here to be canned up. And we'll go and do the final pot, canning pot here in a little bit. Enough lying on TV, yeah. Plenty of it here on YouTube too. God only knows I never lie. Everybody knows I'm the most honest person on YouTube. Yeah, it's not as near as a batch of that I was canning yesterday, Rick. But I cooked it. I roasted them, so it takes longer because I was roasting them, and that took quite a while to get all the tomatoes roasted first. Looking for a redheaded midget pole dancer who just happens to be Amish with hairy toes. Sick. Yeah, everything's true on the internet. Trust me. Oh, I gotta save my battery and turn my hotspot off. I don't need that on right now. Oh, tired. I woke up at 3 o'clock this morning. Turned your hotspot off years ago. We got a nice little breeze. It's really comfortable out here this evening. We got a nice I'm gonna guess about a 10-mile-an-hour breeze going. It's kind of nice. And the temperature is in the upper 70s. So it's nice and comfortable out here. Oh man, I'm tempted to time you out for even mentioning that word, Sandra. I thought I had that in the blocked words list. That's why I don't give people wrenches. Oh, no more tomato sandwiches for a few more days because I processed all of the tomatoes. I didn't even leave any for me for a sandwich. And I should have saved a tomato for at least one tomato sandwich. Huh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Sandra got timed out by Tampon Tammy for 300 seconds. Oh yeah, good homegrown tomatoes. You can't beat them. That's mean bad earthling, bad earthling. No trolls and no diamond hard talk. Tim was timed out by Tampon Tammy. Diamond art is good therapy. That's why he got timed out. So rude, I had to dig into the archives for this account. I like that account name too, Sandra. That's a good one. Misbehaving. PMS, Tammy. Yeah, I think Tammy is PMSing there. Oh, like a natural woman all day, every day. Kiss my arse. Period. Period, period, period. That's more like a pope. Uh-oh, he's looking for another timeout. You can get away with period here, but the diamond art, man, you're pushing the limits. In 1 minute, we're talking about ingrown tomatoes, and then boom, timeout. Howie was right. Brad was right. Of course they were right. They're always right. Big Steve was wrong. Somebody had to liven up the stream. Oh, I don't even want to talk about Big Steve. Cornbread was right. Tessie was right. You got me on that one there, Tim. We're screwed. I still don't have nothing against JD. I mean, JD probably was right. I'm not going to say anything on JD. He's a good man. I do wish Bobby McNutt would come back, especially if he'd come back and drop that whole Botter stuff. Bobby McNutt was fun until he got on the Botter kick. She's on the internet. Yeah, he's dead. Oh, I got to get some more lighter food for my lighter. Be right back. Hey, JR. Bobby was gone before he left. Well, you got a point there, Rick. Just a second, I got to grab my lighter fluid. Not cold out, but I had to grab my sweatshirt and slip it on with a hoodie. Keep the mosquitoes off my neck and arms. Bring Briggs back. Let's not exaggerate too much, Tim. Free peanut butter for everyone. Uh-oh. Now you're gonna piss Tim off with that one. Mr. Briggs was annoying, but you know what? It was cool him being on up there because he'd piss certain people off. I loved it when he'd piss off Big Steve. Just in case anybody wants to come on up, I am going to drop the link in the chat. You have to be a regular here to be able to come up on chat. I'm not bringing any newbies up. Just a second here. I got to do something here. I gotta switch channel so I can pin that. I don't have to post it again. Should say in the chat if you're going to come on up, just in case I don't hear the bell on here. There we go. He's got blue testicles. Oh, he shouldn't have blue testicles. He's got 11 hens here, 11, 12 hens here. He shouldn't have to worry about that at all. Need some prunes and microbio shit. Here comes Rick. You want your camera on or off? You want your camera on or off, Rick? Okay. Hey, Rick.
How's it going?
Not too bad. Living the
My name's
American
Rick.
dream.
There you go.
Huh?
My name's Rick, and I'm addicted to YouTube. Admitting it is the first step to the problem, they say.
The first step to the recovery.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear you there. I'm
This is
addicted
a
to Marco
wild.
Polo too.
Yeah, Marco Polo is fun, where you can just touch it and talk to each other instantly. That's pretty easy.
Yeah, it's fun. I might start another Marco Polo group to put in here one of these days. If
All right.
anybody's interested. Actually, well, if anybody wants a polo group started again, I'll start another one.
I guess it's not for everybody.
No, a lot of people, it only works on the phones, and there's so many other apps for communications. I get it. People don't want to add another app, to. I understand that.
Right. Marco Polo is the best. I get all my advice from there.
Yeah, I really am thinking about leaving that one group though. It's annoying because Noodles doesn't he doesn't listen to any of the comments hardly at all on there. You
No, and I think he goes on there in the morning and skips all of them, and just puts one or two on there to make his face shown, and that's about it.
yeah. Yeah, to me, there's no point of being there. If he's not going to pay attention to it, if he's not going to put any
Hmm.
effort to it, I'm not going to give him, you know,
And that's a shame too, because like Sarah and some of them would love to engage in that, and it just won't engage with it.
yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking about starting another group um, that anybody can join. I don't. I think anybody that would join my group would understand that some of the trolls that we had in Noodles group that came on in there. I don't think anybody that come to my group would be too concerned about that, knowing that we'd get rid of them right away.
Right.
So I ain't even want to worry about that part of it.
Yeah. When he first started it, those were some tough ones that came in there to begin with.
Yeah. Whoa, Frank just timed out Moose.
Sure were. We're talking about Noodles, Marco Polo.
Yeah, we're talking about Noodles on Marco Polo, but Frank just timed out Moose.
Dang, that Frank is rough, ain't he?
He don't like anybody, does he?
I don't believe he does. I don't trust Marco Polo anymore. Nothing is sacred anymore. I don't trust no one. Don't on the internet. The key to all that is on the internet. On the internet, you can't trust nobody.
Well, I will say this. Anything that I've ever said on Marco Polo, I'm not ashamed to have it played on YouTube. I'm not saying it in private. Now, if I have a private discussion with one individual, that's a different deal. But in a group, I mean that's I'm not worried about. And I know that I've said a few things that I probably shouldn't have said in the open group. And if I ever piss somebody off, it'll probably be played. I'm not too worried about it.
I honestly think I lost all my ability to feel on the internet anymore. After all the crap I went through for all them years, I mean, you do something ridiculous and say, "Hey, man, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that," and then they just go on and on and on and on. It never ends. I think I lost my ability to care. I really do, Chris. I really think I lost it. You know.
Yeah, I can see that happening, Rick.
Oh, gotta roll a cigarette.
Well, if I start a group, here's going to be my take. I'm going to put it right on up there. People may use stuff on there. It's not. I'm not creating a group to backstab anybody, to talk behind their back, or anything else. So if you got something to say to about somebody else, don't be afraid for it to be played openly.
Right.
You know, I mean that's. If you have a private conversation with an individual, that's something else.
Well, if you need a private conversation with individuals, you should do it privately anyway. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry about that. That's that machine.
Make a cigarette.
Yeah, I just made two. It's almost my bedtime. So, how many quarts did you finally end up with?
Well, I did 28 quarts of yesterday, and then today I was made it into sauce, so it cooks down quite a bit more. I only had like 1/8 of the amount of what I did yesterday, and I ended up with only about 10 pints.
10. That's pretty good though. I mean,
Yeah, 10 pints. So that's what, 5 quart.
something like that.
Yeah.
Excuse
But I mean that's cooked down. You know, I mean it's a lot thicker.
My late tomatoes that I planted late have tomatoes on them. A few of them are about the size of a small tennis ball, and there's a lot of little golf ball size ones, but they should come on in a few more weeks. You know.
Do you ever try roasting your tomatoes at all?
No, but I've talked about it. I have bought roasted tomatoes, and I like them, but I've never made any. How do you make yours?
All I do is I take a cookie sheet. It's best if you lay some tinfoil down on it and oil the tinfoil up. I slice the tomatoes in half, slice side up. I salt, pepper it, basil, and garlic powder on it. And I stick it in the oven, and I'll also slice a couple of onions in half and put them in the oven too with it on that cookie sheet. And I'll roast it at 450 for about 45 minutes roughly. I want to blacken the edges good on it. You know, you want to blacken it, the edges and stuff, and and I pour then the juices that's in the pan. I pour that into a bowl, and save the juice, the runoff of the juice, and then I scrape the tomatoes and stuff into another bowl. And I take the magic wand, whatever it is, that you put it in the blender, the stuff in the blender too, whiz it on up into a pulp,
Right.
and just put it in the jars. And then that liquid that you pour off, that makes really good, like a kind of like a vegetable broth type of soup. It's a good soup base. The
Uh-huh.
liquid that you pour off. It still has a basil and garlic seasoning to it.
That
It's
sounds
pretty simple.
delicious.
It's really simple to do. It is time
How many?
consuming.
Yeah. How many do you do at a time like that? I mean,
Well, I did what was it, 3 or 4 cookie sheets, and got close to 10 pints.
I'm talking about when you roast them.
How many tomatoes do I do at a
Yeah.
time? Um, I'm getting on each cookie sheet. I'm probably getting 6 or 8 better boys. They're early girls and better boys. And I'm thinking I'm getting 6 to 8 tomatoes on each pan.
And you do how many pans at one time?
2 pans. That's all I can fit in my oven.
Right. So if it take about 6 or 8 nice sized tomatoes to do that, something like that, 10.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, what I do is I get the oven preheated, and I'll have one pan ready. Throw that in the oven. I'll get the next pan while that one start cooking. I'll get the next one. I'll get it loaded up and shove it in the pan. So I'm constantly rotating them. When I have several batches to do, I'll rotate it and do that for like 4 or 5 hours and get a
Right.
bunch done that way. And just keep one pan rotating all the time, so I don't have to do all the tomato work
Uh,
all at one time. And it's pretty easy to do that way.
And then after they're roasted, will you do put them in a Ziploc bag or something and freeze them, or just
I,
lay them on the
I
counter?
throw
Or you don't.
I throw them in. I throw them all in a big old kettle, and then I take that magic wand or whatever. It's a blender, type of a wand blender, and I whiz
Hmm.
it up into pulp. I just whiz it all up into pulp. Then I put it in my jars and pressure can it.
That's what you're doing now.
Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah.
thought you were just canning regular tomatoes, like it.
No, I whiz it, make it into pulp, and that way, when you roast your tomatoes like this here, it makes really, really good pizza and spaghetti sauce. It's
So
nice.
that's sort of like semi dehydrating it. You're not getting all the moisture out, just getting a little bit of it out. Is that what you're doing?
Well, when you cook and bake it like that, a lot of the liquids leak down to the bottom of the pan, and I pour that into a bowl. So I mean, it's
Okay.
not really dehydrated, but you're cooking a lot of the liquids out, and so you're separating those liquids that come on out. You separate those from the tomato and put that in another jar. Can that up for your soup bowl. Um,
Shh, Elvis.
but the pulp that's been cooked down, it's somewhat dehydrated. It's a thick sauce, and it's really good for pizzas and spaghettis.
That sounds good. I'm gonna try that. I mean, I only do a few jars just the first time to see how it's like. I like it, but
And another thing that you can do that I do with it is sometimes I'll even cook up some bell pepper. It roast the bell pepper and put that on in there. But then those
hmm
jars are really good during the wintertime, is why I like to can up a lot of it. It's come wintertime, man, when I want some salsa, I'll dump one of those jars on out, get some fresh cilantro, cut it up, mix it in there, cut up some green onion and some jalapeno peppers, mix it on in there, and you got a good salsa.
yeah, I didn't grow them this year like I did last year. Last year I had so many peppers. I've still got. We put them in jars and then froze the jars. Those white jars with the plastic lids you see everybody has now. It's got the white
Oh yeah,
plastic lids on them. I filled about 25 of those jars up and set them in a freezer. You would just use them out as I need them, you know.
yeah. This is cooking bathtub crack. All right. Well,
Tomato crack.
it does make really good salsa. You know, like if we're dipping chips in during the wintertime and stuff. Just add some fresh stuff to it. You know, some fresh green onions, some fresh cilantro, and fresh jalapeno, and whatever else you want to add to it.
You ever growed sriracha?
Sriracha peppers? No, I haven't ever grown those.
I did not know. I had forgot. I bought some. What's the name of the restaurant where you get chicken at? Kind of a high end fast food chicken place. It's sweet and spicy sriracha sauce, and it was really good stuff. And I put it all over my chicken tonight. When I got through eating that, I had to go outside with a glass of milk, sit down. That like to burnt me up. I had no idea that sriracha peppers was that hot.
Oh,
Wow,
I've
they
had
burnt me up.
I eat a tons of sriracha sauce. I mean, I buy the it's like a quart. It's about a quart. I don't know, 28, 32 ounce, something like that. Bottles of the sriracha sauce. It lasts me about 2 weeks. I smother my food with that sriracha sauce. Now I've had the stuff that you're talking about. It's about the same type of heat. I think the sriracha sauce is actually a little bit warm. The straight sriracha sauce is a little bit warmer than the sweet sriracha sauce.
Right. Chick-fil-A, that's it. Or it might have been Bubba's Chicken Shack and Tax Service. I can't remember. I think it was Chick-fil-A sweet and spicy
On,
sriracha
on,
sauce.
the,
That was the name of it.
on Polo, you said it was Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, I'm reading Junior's comment right there.
Yeah, but when you showed it this afternoon on Marco Polo, you said that was Chick-fil-A that you showed there.
Yeah, it was Chick-fil-A sauce. Elvis, shush. Junior said Bubba's Chicken Shack and Tax Service. You don't need another dog, do you? Elvis. Come here, Elvis. He saw a deer or something.
Oh boy. Yeah, you know, when she sees a squirrel, she goes off like that.
He don't bother the squirrels much anymore because he knows he can't catch them because he's on a line. But a deer, he thinks he can break the line and go get it. He wants it so bad.
Don't blame them; they're tasty.
I know.
You shot one off your property, right?
What's that?
When's the last time you shot a deer off your property?
It's probably been 10 years ago. I've got a
phone call.
I take pictures of them all the time, but I've got a neighbor that kills about 20, 25 a year, and he brings me so much meat up here. I just decided, as long as he keeps bringing meat, I don't even need to hunt anymore, you know. Did you fall out? Hello, hello.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry about that. I had a phone call.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you was gone. You can't tell when you fall out or not the way you've got that screen on there. So
Yeah. Is my audio still working okay?
yeah.
Okay. It used to be if I get a phone call, it'd knock my audio down to silent. That was my
I
old
noticed that
phone.
on when Noodles drops out with a phone call or something comes back, he's muted and he doesn't know it. Remember how we used to play with him like that?
Yeah, yeah. No, it used to be Bono would call on up and it wouldn't mute my mic, but it would make it low volume like I didn't have it on speakerphone.
Right. I'm glad we don't have to deal with him anymore. That guy, holy crap.
Yeah. I talked to her, huh? Yes. Don't worry about it right now. She said fajita. Surprise got worms.
Oh
No,
no.
have her dewormed.
Yeah. I need to get Worm Elvis. I haven't done it this summer too. I need to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'll save her one of my cigarette butts and feed it to her. That will do it.
My uncle used to go out here and get pine tar off the side of a pine tree and roll it up in a little ball and take it and say they'll take care of any parasites in a human. And he would feed it to his dogs and stuff too, like that.
Huh. It's probably a different kind of pine than what we have out here, though.
Maybe. I don't know. It's spruce pine out here, and just about all of them are from Virginia all the way to the edge of Florida. They're spruce, you know.
We have spruce trees, but I wonder if it's the same tree.
I don't
We
know.
don't.
These are full of limbs. Lots of limbs on these with knots, but they're hard as a rock.
Spruce are full of limbs. Um, they're nasty. I hate spruce trees.
Yeah, that as far as cutting them and sawing them, they're a pain in the butt. But you get that lumber out of a good spruce tree and let it dry out. They use it on the coast for hurricane stuff. When it dries out, it is tough. I mean,
Ah,
when we get our framing here, it's usually Canadian or the Pacific Northwest. And when you get the framing for down the coast, they use that spruce because it's hard as a rock. Well, you can't. It's unreal, you know.
yeah. Well, I'll have to do some experimenting next time I come across. I've always shunned away from the spruce logs whenever I got around them. Never have. I haven't tried milling any. I just it was some nasty stuff to work with. I didn't figure it'd be worth anything, and it was. And I don't even like it for firewood.
Yeah, it burns really quick.
Mm-hmm. And not really all that hot.
Nah, people get firewood here. They want oak, white oak, red oak, hickory. There's something with some BTUs in it, you know.
Yeah. Well, I can get more BTU out of the Doug fir that I have here than I can the oak. As far as instantaneous BTU. Now I'm not talking about I mean a quart of oak is going to put out more BTU than a quart of Doug fir. But I can get the BTU put out a lot quicker with the Doug fir though.
Mm-hmm. It reminds me of pine. Every Doug fir I've ever seen sawed in videos or anywhere, it kind of reminds me of a pine tree with no knots because they grow so big and slick, you know.
It's similar. It's not as brittle as pine. It's a lot more durable. Uh, Doug fir burns a little bit hotter than pine.
Right.
Not a whole lot hotter, but it is a little bit harder. Uh, no, that's not the right way to put it. It's definitely a stronger wood than pine, but a pine is more brittle, and it
And
does.
you know how framing material, that soft pine that you get like at Home Depot or Lowe's or somewhere, that When you hit it with your hammer, it'll leave that hammer track in. If you hit it very hard, it's soft enough, it'll leave those tracks on it.
Yeah.
A spruce pine won't do that. You can
Oh,
hammer on it to all you want. You won't leave a track in it like that. That stuff's hard.
wow. I'm gonna have to give that a try. Now they say that hemlock is pretty good for bug resistant. Is that true?
Yeah. Oh, I've heard that, but we don't have much hemlock around here. I maybe have seen a couple of hemlock trees in my life here. Maybe a couple.
We have a lot of hemlock around, but it's lousy firewood, and it ain't no good for structural purposes.
Here we have the main staples is pine, and then in the hardwoods it's like oak, white oak, red oak, uh, hickory for handles and stuff like that. And when you get to the bottomland, it turns into beech, birch, elm, sycamore, uh, ash, and all those bottomland, wetland trees like that. And that goes into framing, to frame up big boxes to ship stuff in,
Oh
not
yeah,
furniture.
I get so jealous of some of the video channels that I follow online. From down in the south, they have those oak trees that are I'm guessing they're about 2 foot on the stump, and the trunk of it goes up, looks like 16, 18 feet. Nice straight logs. I'm like, man, I'd love to get some 16, 18 foot long, 2 foot diameter oak to put in my sawmill.
That's what's in my front yard. Is white oaks like
I'm
that.
jealous of that
Red
stuff.
oaks are
Go ahead.
red oaks are shallow rooted and they blow over easy here. The bigger they are, the easier they blow over. But white oaks are really deep rooted. So when I cleared this lot, I took every red oak it was out and left nothing but white oaks. I've
Hmm.
had one limb fall on my house in 35 years.
Now, have you heard of live oak?
Yeah, but I'm not familiar with exactly what it is.
I'm not sure either, really. All I know is the old homestead that I grew up on. We had a bunch of old oak trees, and they were 3, 4 foot in diameter, and they were live oak trees. They would not. They didn't shed their leaves in the fall. They kept their
Oh
leaves year
wow.
round. Whereas the other oak trees, they lose all their leaves in the fall.
Oh yeah, I've heard of those. Sure
I've
have.
been,
I've heard of them, and I think I might have seen one time, but I can't remember when or where. But I remember that name.
I've been wondering what the wood would look like on that stuff.
We have some oaks. What do they call those oaks? And boy, they have knots and gnarly looking places on them like that. It almost reminds you of a pin oak. You've seen pin oak trees before where the leaves are too small to wipe your butt with. A joke.
Yeah, I I I got a load of the pin oak. It's nice looking wood, but it doesn't fare too well. As far as it doesn't fare as well sitting on out like a white oak does and stuff. If you don't leave it too long before you burn it, in other words.
Right. That's the only problem with it. And it doesn't work very good for building stuff too. Post
Yeah.
oak. That's it.
Now,
Bingo, junkyard.
Tim says good sauce piss oak. I've never even heard of piss oak, but I tell you what, I have fallen some piss fir, and there's a reason why they call it piss fir too.
It smells like it.
Not only does it smell like it, when you cut on into a piss fir, it's usually hollow in the center and full of water that smells like piss. When I was when my first year falling, and I was the first piss fir that I fell. I must have had 10 gallons of water inside of it because when I cut on into it, the chainsaw just let out a spray of water. It has soaked me from the waist down, just thoroughly soaked me. And I smelled like
And that
piss for the rest of the day.
and and the piss oaks here smell just like that too. You literally, when we'd saw into one and it would hit down, it'd be sprayed that stuff everywhere, and everybody in the mill would be go, "Oh God, you got one of them again!" It just stunk like a cat sprayed something.
Yeah, oh man, it's nasty. After that, I learned when you get a fall of piss fur, you stand behind the chainsaw, not side by side with it. Don't stand with it with a spray if it has water.
Oh Lord.
Oh, that stuff is nasty. JR had a lot of
I,
hickory and sweet gum.
hmm I do too here. I've got quite a bit of hickory. Not sweet gum, but a few sweet gums, but not a lot of hickory.
I've been trying to
And
figure out. I've been trying to find out what type of tree my dad was growing. He had an area. He had a firewood plot that was I believe it was 10 to 15 feet wide and about 40 feet long. And he planted that full of trees. I mean, he seeded it like grass with these trees. And it took about 5 years for that plot to fill on up to where I was ready to start cutting. And he would start cutting the trees. He would only cut 4 foot on in, 4 or 5 foot in each year. Cutting the trees on down, cut it up into firewood. And that was enough firewood for him. Redding, California doesn't get cold during the winter, so it's not bad. But he'd heat with that
right.
little plywood. With that little plywood, he was able to um, heat year round with it because you cut only 4 or 5 feet at a time, and by the time we get through that 40 foot plot, he was ready to circle around, coming back, start cutting in again. So he never had to plant. He was just always kept on harvesting that same plot.
I've been doing that exact same thing here for almost 40 years. I mean, they fall and I cut them up and cut one once in a while that's in the way, or if it blows over or something, and go back and look. And I can remember little old poplars that I could put my hand around, and they're 8 or 10 inch poplars now. Just looking over to the side, I'm walking by that tree for 30 or 40 years, and saying, "Oh my God, look how big it is now!" It just sneaks up on you.
What I'm saying is these trees that he was growing, they planted as thick as grass, but in 5 years they'd be 8 inches in diameter.
Oh God, that sounds like copal.
I don't know what it was, and it was a real oily wood. He did have to wash
Hmm
it out. It did put a lot of creosote out.
I've got them behind my barn that I have to cut them every 2 or 3 years, or they're huge. They just grow so quick, it's unbelievable. And my dad called them copal, and that's what I've called them for years. I don't know what the real name of them is.
I wonder if that's the
Next
same
time we're
thing.
I don't know, but the next time I'm down there, I'll polo those trees to you and show you what I'm talking about.
Okay, yeah, yeah, do that because I'd be. I know what the trees look like that Dad had. They almost look like what's that tree that we have around here up in the woods? It's almost on an endangered species list. It's
And you know what
manzanita.
the leaves? Yeah, you know what the leaves look like on them?
Yeah, they're kind of long. They're kind of long and skinny, kind of, or not too skinny. About an inch and a quarter inch, about an inch and a quarter wide, and about 3 or 4 inches long. Um,
That's the way these are. That's exactly the way these are.
I'll bet you it's the same tree.
I bet it is too. And they grow like crazy.
And does the bark peel like manzanita does?
I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever peeled any. I cut them down, push them over in the woods to get rid of them, and do it again every 2 or 3, 4 years, something like that.
No, I don't mean that way. As far as peeling, like every year the bark's just naturally peeling off. It starts flaking off in big sheets.
Yeah, I think so. I think it does that. I always thought it was because they grow so quick.
I'll bet you it's the same stuff. It's like trying to think of that tree that we have here. It's a really hardwood, but it doesn't grow as fast.
Honey locust. Now, locust and cedar. When I built my garage, I used 6x6 locust posts in my garage. I cut them on the sawmill myself and brought them home and put them up. And I'll never forget that. Those things had been in there for a year or two. And she'd go out there with a nail, gonna drive a nail in that locust to hang a pot or a flower or something on. And watching her try to drive that nail in, she was like, "What is wrong with this stuff? It's so hard." And she never could get it in. I have to drill a hole with a drill to get the nail in. It's so hard.
Hey,
See you, Junior.
I put black locust post in my garden about I'm thinking 4 years ago. I didn't even peel the bark off. I thought for sure they would still rot on out in the ground. They're still solid in the ground.
That stuff is there's a reason why it is.
Yeah, I'm liking that black locust. I'm keeping some of the black locust around here, trying to get it a little bit bigger to make better fence posts out of. But that stuff doesn't have a very good root system.
But it sure is hard. God, that's just hard.
Okay, now junkyard says honey locust will rot fast.
I don't even know what that is. Shh. Come here.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious what that is, and I don't know. Maybe you can send me some seed. I'd love to plant a plot here of that.
I've got one in my front yard. I noticed it's coming up on the side of where I cut a tree a year and a half ago, maybe just a year ago, that was leaning. One blew over and another one there was dead. And I said, I'll just cut that one down too. And I was coming up the driveway the other evening and looked, and there was a tree 10 foot tall of that kind of tree growing up off the side of it. I'm like, dang, I need to go cut that or that thing will take over,
Yeah. Oh man, if I can get that, I got some fir trees that I've been thinking about taking on out. For the wood, I'd just replant that stuff and plant that area with that.
It'll grow. If I can figure a small one like that, I'll mail it to you. I'll look around. I've got them, and I'll show you that tree like tomorrow, the next day one when I'm down there. When I'm coming home or something from work, I'll stop at the barn
Cool.
down there.
Yeah, the trees that he had, it was so thick. They were so thick you couldn't crawl between them.
That's the way these are. They come up just in bunches like that. That's the way they come. They grow. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Moose is cutting bamboo on his mill.
Crappy boards. All they supposed to slice it in half and then heat it up and flatten it, or I don't know how they flatten those.
That flooring I seen on videos and stuff's really cool out of bamboo though.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how they make that. I've been thinking about getting a sort of bamboo down by the river. Starting a bunch of bamboo down there. Because there's so much use for bamboo.
I've thought about it 3 or 4 times, and I've always afraid it would just completely take over.
In your environment, it would. We have a colder environment, so I don't think it'd be near the problem as it is. And it also depends on the varieties that you plant too. But
whatever it is they have here, you can see where somebody starts a patch of it, and just a couple of years, it's completely covered the whole hillside. You're like, oh my God,
Yeah. Well, I'd like to grow some bamboo just to make instead of using the wire fencing around the garden, I'd rather use the bamboo. Weave it back and forth into fencing. do different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to me like it takes forever for it to decay. So I think it'd be great for like making it for the arbor for my using it for the arbor for climbing the green beans on.
Yeah, and I've seen a neighbor about 5 miles from me. It's got some. I've thought about cutting it from my tomato sticks. I bet that would make some heck of a tomato sticks. Get it about an inch diameter. You know.
Oh, I bet it would too. There's some people yelling. I hope they're not trying to come through my property. I might have to get
You get
serious.
that. You get that a lot there.
Not anymore. Every once in a while, you get people want to climb the rocks up behind us.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have to show a few people around here the ugly side of me that you guys have never seen.
Move along, folks. Nothing to see here.
Yeah. But yeah, it's yeah. I want to make a like the arbors for the pole beans. Um, I want to and then I want to do a double rail like a foot apart to plant my tomatoes on in. You know what
Oh,
I
that'd be
mean?
cool.
That way I
Yeah,
can just put plant the tomatoes and let them just grow up in between, and that would be the support. I don't like using those. You've seen those wire basket like deals that you stab in the ground and they're 2 or 3, 4 foot tall or whatever. I don't
I
like using those.
refuse to. I
Huh?
refuse to make those things. I refuse to make them. They're expensive to make. They're hard to make and all that. I just keep using old sticks. I just keep making more sticks and keep doing it with stakes. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, those round things. Every time somebody says, "Come help me pick the garden," I go on out there, and those tomatoes grow tight and they wedge up in there, and they're hard to get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I do like using the stake. You just drive a single stake and then tie the plant to it, right?
Yeah, like that one that I planted for late tomatoes. There's 6 plants there, and I put a 8 foot steel stake on one end and one on the other, and I just wrap it around it and pull it tight because it's not but about 10 foot across there, and they're all
Uh,
held up great. You know.
yeah. Yeah, my brother, he just at each plant he drives in a stake about 4 or 5 feet long, drives it right into the ground, right beside the plant, and then as the plant goes on up, he just ties it to that stake that wooden stake.
Yeah, I string them along. What do they call that? The Dutch weave or Florida weave? The Florida weave, kind of.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called. I've seen it done. Matter of fact, I've done that a few times here. Now I took some. It's like field fencing. It's the wire mesh that they put in rebar in concrete. I mean, I
Yeah,
got that up in there right now, and then I just let the tomatoes grow up beside it, and then I kind of as it's growing, I weave it through that wire mesh.
and I used to put a stake on every single tomato like that, but then when I started getting like 200 tomato plants, I was like, holy crap! I started spreading the sticks out like every 5 or 6 plants, and weaving it through there so I wouldn't have to use as many.
So how many plants did you put in this year?
Uh Down in the garden, I planted maybe 100. I cut way back this year, maybe 100.
Holy cow, 100 plants! Now, how many people are you growing tomatoes for?
Everybody in the family. There's 3 kids, 6 grandkids, my 4 or 5 neighbors around here. Everybody gets them.
Wow, that's a
And if I
lot of
don't grow them,
tomatoes.
it is. And if I don't grow them, I feel like I'm letting them down because they keep coming. Hey, you got any tomatoes? You got any tomatoes? You know, uh,
Yeah,
I feel obligated to do it now. You know,
yeah. Well, hopefully they help pick them and do all the work for them.
most of them do. Yeah,
Yeah,
but there's a few years.
where
There
I
was a
got
few
these.
years when I was.
Go
Go ahead.
ahead.
I'm sorry.
I was
I
just
was
going to
just
say
gonna say.
where I got these tomatoes from. I the friend of mine, he grew a bunch of them, and last year he gave them to a friend of his, but told the friend he'd share the tomatoes with him, but he had to come on out there and help him, weed the garden and different stuff. And when it come time to pick them, he had to help pick them and can them and do all the different stuff. The guy didn't do any helping, but then he came out and picked the garden clean, took the tomatoes home, and gave him 2 quarts. So he says, "The heck with that guy." He says, "Stan, he's come out here and pick my garden and clean it." So I did the canning. I gave, I mean, I'm getting half the tomatoes. He's getting half the tomatoes, and all I had to do was I can pick them and can them for him.
Right. Yeah. When I was selling them at the stand out on the front, I would grow 500. 5 to 700, something like that.
Oh wow!
But I just can't do it anymore. It's just too much work.
Yeah, yeah. You got to have young kids that can get out there and work the fields with you and stuff. How
Well,
much money
Grizz,
was
it's
in?
after. Do
What's
I?
that? I was just asking how much money was in it each year for you.
Uh, I would make anywhere from 5 to 8,000, something like that.
Not too bad.
No, only for a couple of months' work.
Were you able to do it on the honor system on selling them? Just set the tomatoes out there and
No way you could do that in this neighborhood.
oh wow.
I wish. I wish you could.
You know
But
what
if
I
you're growing that many tomatoes, you need to be down there doing something all the time, just about anyway. So you're already right there, anyway.
yeah. My when my daughter was doing the firewood down here, she did a lot of that on the honor system. Just put a can down there, and some people would snag the wood. We'd come up short, and other times we'd have be more money than what she had actually sold and stuff. And we tallied it up at the end of the summer, and she actually had more in there than she expected she would have gotten. By the amount of bundles that she sold.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I'm not so sure
And
that they do that right now that they got the homeless people moving into the area now.
I know people that did the honor system years ago, and they still do it, but they don't do the honor system anymore. Because I
Yeah.
went and bought some from a guy that used to do it all the time, and he was sitting in there and collecting the money.
There was an old guy now years ago. I drive from here over to Scio, and it's all back roads. It's about close to an hour drive taking the back roads all the way over. Hour and a half, 2 hours if you just take the main road because it's so far around. But it's all back roads.
Mm-hmm.
An old guy that he had a garden out there, and every day on the way home from work, he would have his wheelbarrow on out there full of fresh vegetables and a sign that says free. Well, this was second or third day I'm driving home from work and I see that out there and I thought, I gotta do it. I gotta do it. I gotta do it. The wheelbarrow was only about half full. I got on out. I stopped there, took all the vegetables out of the wheelbarrow, put them on the ground, loaded up the wheelbarrow, and drove off. Yeah, I drove down, and I seen him come running out of the house. I drove down to the next corner, turned around and parked to watch him come running, screaming down the car chasing towards me. And by that time, I was driving back to his place to return his wheelbarrow. He'd go whipping around. He was so pissed at first, but then he had a good laugh over it.
It said free, right?
Anyway, after that, I would stop there. At that time, I wasn't doing a garden. I mean, I was actually working. I was working 12 hours a day, and I'd be gone 14, 16 hours a day. So I didn't have time for the garden at that time. But I'd every evening I'd swing on in there and I'd grab a couple of zucchinis, tomatoes, cucumbers, whatever from him. It was pretty cool that he was doing that. Every
Yeah,
now and
that's
then,
nice.
$2 for him.
That must have been a retired guy that didn't have nothing to do.
Yeah, he was a retired guy, and I told him to leave a can so I could leave donations. He didn't want to leave a can, so Every now and then I'd tuck some money in there and weight it down with a rock.
Right. Well, Grizz, my phone's gonna die, so I better get off of here before it ends.
Okay, yeah, I've been on here an hour and a half. I think I want to get off here myself.
All right. Have a good one. Thank you, Grizz.
Take care, Rick.
Bye bye.
Bye. Well, guys, what do you think? Should we hang around for 5 or 10 more minutes, or call it good for the night? Used to buy goat milk off the back porch, leave money in a coffee can. Yep. Yeah, a shotgun keeps them honest, don't it, Junkyard? You tried to be a lady of the evening on the honor system. It didn't work out well. Shoot, Boost. Ain't going anywhere? Okay, well, I'll stay here for a little bit longer. That's good to know that there's that Rick knows what that tree is that my dad had, it sounds like. Because I tell you what, Dad was out of a plot like that, he was getting 3 or 4 cord out of it every year. When he'd get through that 40 or 50 feet, he'd be back and start over all over again. Never had to worry about firewood ever again. I like that idea because gas is getting so expensive. Getting too expensive to drive up in the woods to go get firewood. I'm not sure. I don't remember what he called it. I'll have to. He's going to get a picture of it. It looks like madrone is what I was trying to think of when he was on here. It looks similar to the madrone tree. Copal. Yeah, it's called copal. The madrone tree is the best firewood we get, but it doesn't grow that rapidly. But it makes really good firewood. Yeah, that stuff is hard, man. Once you better have a split while it's green because you ain't going to split it when it's dry. It'd be like trying to split a chunk of steel. I gotta Google it myself here while I'm at it. Let's see here. Let me go.
Stay away. Not good idea. No, back off.
It's not contagious.
No, she's having diarrhea.
Let's see here. Copal. Go, and then we'll go to images.
She had a whole bunch. The whole soup is covered. They're white worms.
Guess I'm gonna have to go to copal tree because copal is showing a mineral. Okay, here we go. Oops. Images.
Stay. You're not going over there. Daddy's busy.
No, the tree that they're showing, they're just showing them growing individually. And, oh, here's one that looks like it. That tree looks like the one. Might be different kinds of copal. Might be different kinds of copal. But it does, some of these do look like it. Huh. Yeah, we got some ash around here. I'd love to get some ash for some firewood. But
ash makes pretty tables.
Everybody that has ash trees, man, when it comes time to cut them on down, they're not getting rid of them. They're hanging on to them.
They make good tables, I heard. Yeah.
Hmm.
He's not acting normal.
She's got diarrhea, you said, and got worms?
Yeah, like a whole bunch.
Whole bunch of worms, or?
Like a bunch.
Okay, well, we'll have to deworm her.
I went on the website to get pumpkins.
Okay.
Deworming and lots of vegetables.
Okay, well, feed her some pumpkin, but we'll have to
get her in.
Call her vet and see what about getting.
She was just dewormed about a month and a half ago.
Well, maybe we'll have to deworm her again then. Did you take a picture of it?
Didn't get to.
Well, the next time she poops, get the picture of it so you can show the vet the worms.
They're like these little tiny ones. They're clear. They're clear.
They're clear?
Yes. And then I only have a can of dog food in my trailer. That's it.
I just posted a video of him asking about black men about me. Cool. I bet you they had a lot of positive things to say. Hello, Tenny Shoes.
I have a can of dog food left. That's it.
Yeah, we know y'all got Grizz envy over there, troll conspiracy.
I have 5 more dog food too.
Y'all got Grizz envy.
I'm gonna go get you some pumpkins. Let's go inside and get pumpkins.
I gotta check that right now. Let's see here.
What is your opinion of somebody like a guy named Grizz? He's a mountain man. He sells cancerous chickens. He has toes between his legs. Would you let your daughter date someone like that? No, because anybody date like that, you gotta be fucked up. So you make my daughter fucked up. There you go. You know what, Billy? You've already showed enough bodily functions on yourself on the chat. We would really appreciate it if you didn't show your toes or legs anymore. You notice?
Boy, now those feet can snatch a fish out of the river.
Or your legs. Oh my God. Look at that. That's a fly. Oh man.
It tickled. I love it. Good one, Noodles. Good one, Noodles. I like it. That is Grizz approved. How's Tenny Shoes this evening? Now, just because you're a standard mod doesn't mean my other mods can't time you out. Not only out of the water, but under 6 inches of ice. Those are some sharp talons, aren't they, Robert? How come I'm on top now? Oh, that's because I switched away for a minute. Good. Oh, chat. Hackleberry and elm. And Boy's Darth up here. I'm not sure what Boy's Darth is. Man, I wish we had the varieties of the hardwoods like what you guys got. Most of the wood that I can readily get, what is considered hardwoods, is maple and alder. And maple ain't too bad. You know, it's not much better than Doug fir, but it sure smells a lot better for cooking purposes and stuff. Yeah, alder ain't bad either, but I'd rather burn Doug fir than alder. Man, alder sure does grow fast, but it has a lousy root system. That stuff's blowing down all the time. Can't hardly get a big alder tree unless it's well protected because it blows down something fierce. And the snow, whenever we get a little snow, a bunch of alder trees come down. Chicken fajitas for dinner? Bet you that was good. Sounds delicious. Tenny shoes, did you notice the title? Chicken fajitas and Spanish rice. I think I'm crazy. People think I'm crazy, but I love taking the Spanish rice, put a little bit of sour cream on there, and take some habanero sauce and soak it real heavy with the habanero sauce and dip my chips on into that. Hackberry is a pretty good firewood. The split's real easy. I've never seen hackberry that I know of. I mean, I might have when I lived down in the south, but
It is a sweet potato we have. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so what too says.
Okay.
Leave her alone. Just Stickles food. They have some canned dogs and I have spicy more
Yeah,
dogs than
I get I get loads. I mean, alder is really easy to come by. I mean, it's really easy to come by. But
No, not
it's
yours.
always so green when you go to haul it. It's so heavy. And that stuff weighs a lot. The alder does. When it's green, when it dries, it's fairly light. Hackberry's a lot like ash. That'd be a good wood then. I do with ash though. You want to split it when it's green. You don't want to wait until it's dry. At least the ash that we have here, it's really hard.
Yeah, she
Mhm.
I something I worry so much about my dog. Dog. So I'll do that. I'll have you come in with me. Switch dog food with me. If you don't like the food.
Just a second. I'll be right back, guys.
9 o'clock.
Okay, I'm back. Wring that rooster's neck.
9 o'clock.
Okay, I'm back. Whoops.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The sniffle, the chicken was trying to sneak up the sniffle, and Peter went and nubbed the head at the chicken and back off.
Okay.
Just now. Mm.
Can't lay that egg. Yeah, but he's turned into a pretty good guard rooster for any of the
Yeah.
hawks flying overhead and stuff.
That rooster sure loves my dog. There's nothing on there, Vita.
Yes, I see you, stir fry. I see
I know, I
you.
hope she feels better.
No, she's feeling fine right now.
It would be a good idea I take her off the leash. I made sure she got something in her stomach. Like, I'm not going to take her for a walk when she has that problem. Something like that.
He just eats and feeds. It reminds me of Big Steve. Dead weight. Anyway, I think I'm going to get off of here. I do need to get back into canning. I think this spot's ready to get going. We'll catch y'all later. Bye, y'all.